the young, and the restless spoilers. Sharon Newman's life has been a tumultuous journey of highs and lows, and now, she finds herself at one of the darkest points she's ever faced. Her struggle with severe bipolar disorder has pushed her to the edge, leaving her vulnerable to the demons that haunt her mind. Sharon's current state is precarious, and as she spirals further into her mental health crisis, the question of whether she needs time to rest and recover becomes painfully apparent. Yet, the reality of her situation is far more complicated, as she is no longer in control of her actions. The descent into madness. Cameron, the malevolent force that has latched onto Sharon, is more than just a figment of her troubled mind. He is the embodiment of her darkest fears and impulses, driving her towards a path of destruction. Sharon's perception of reality is increasingly warped, and under Cameron's influence, she is on the verge of committing a catastrophic act that could change her life, and the lives of those around her, forever. As Sharon's mental state deteriorates, her interactions with those closest to her become more erratic and dangerous. When she sees Lucy drinking alcohol and talking to Faith, a storm of anger and fear brews within her. To Sharon, this is not just a casual encounter between friends, it is a threat to her daughter's well-being, a potential catalyst for Faith to fall back into old habits of addiction. In her mind, Lucy is not just a bad influence, she is a danger that must be eradicated. The breaking point. Unable to control the tidal wave of emotions, Sharon confronts Faith with an ultimatum: stay away from Lucy, or risk being pulled into the destructive cycle of alcoholism once more. Faith, confused and frightened by her mother's intensity, tries to reason with Sharon, but it's clear that logic and compassion are no longer reaching her. Sharon's bipolar disorder has pushed her into a state of mania, where rational thought is overshadowed by an overwhelming need to protect her daughter, even if that protection comes at a terrifying cost. The moment of crisis comes when Sharon, fueled by her anger and the twisted guidance of Cameron, decides that the only way to ensure Lucy can never harm Faith is to eliminate her entirely. Sharon's plan is impulsive, reckless, and utterly terrifying. She will set fire to the farm where Lucy is staying, ensuring that Lucy is consumed by the flames. As she moves to execute her plan, Sharon's fury is palpable. She is no longer the caring, loving mother that Faith once knew. Instead, she is a woman possessed by her illness, driven to commit an act of violence that will haunt her forever. Faith, realizing the horrifying extent of her mother's intentions, tries desperately to stop her, but it is too late. The fire is set, and the flames quickly engulf the farm. A mother's descent, a daughter's despair. As the fire rages, Sharon and Faith flee the scene, leaving Lucy to her fate. For Faith, the horror of what has just occurred is overwhelming. She is devastated not only by the loss of Lucy, who may very well perish in the inferno, but also by the realization that her mother is responsible for this monstrous act. The mother she once loved and looked up to has become a stranger, capable of an unimaginable crime. Faith's reaction is one of profound grief and disgust. She cannot fathom how her mother could justify such a heinous act, no matter how much she believed she was protecting her. The emotional toll on Faith is immeasurable, as she grapples with the horror of her mother's actions and the moral implications of what has just transpired. In the midst of her despair, Faith turns to prayer, begging God to save Lucy from the flames. Her tears are a mixture of sorrow, guilt, and desperation, as she pleads for a miracle that might undo the damage her mother has caused. Faith's prayer is not just for Lucy's life, but for her own shattered faith in the goodness of her family, in the hope that some remnant of the mother she once knew can be salvaged from this nightmare. The need for intervention. As the dust settles and the fire is extinguished, the full extent of the tragedy becomes clear. Whether Lucy survives or perishes in the flames, the repercussions of Sharon's actions will be far-reaching and devastating. The incident marks a critical turning point in Sharon's life, one that will require immediate and significant intervention. Sharon's severe bipolar disorder, now exacerbated by the stress and trauma of recent events, is at the root of her destructive behavior. She is not a villain in the traditional sense, but a woman deeply in need of help that she has not received. Her mental illness has driven her to commit an act that she will likely regret for the rest of her life, and the only way forward is for her to receive the treatment and care she so desperately needs.